It's been 1 month since Congressman Greg Gianforte became Montana's governor-elect, and it's 1 month until his inauguration. On Friday, the Bozeman Republican said he's encouraged with how the transition has gone so far.
We're building a great team, have rolled up our sleeves, and are already working for Montanans.
Gianforte made clear COVID-19 will remain a major focus as his administration takes over.
We have to recognize we're in the midst of a public health crisis. The trends right now are alarming, and it's clear we need to get a better handle on this virus.
Gianforte said he will wait for recommendations from his COVID-19 task force before announcing his plans on state action. But he again emphasized his priority will be protecting people in vulnerable populations, but reopening Montana's economy. He said he's optimistic about vaccines, but that people should be aware they won't be widely available for some time.
In the meantime, I encourage Montanans to take care of their loved ones and neighbors and to protect their health and well-being. I trust Montanans to do what's right. I choose to wear a mask, and I encourage others to do the same.
Gianforte said he's had hundreds of Montanans express interest in joining his administration. He plans to name cabinet members and roll out policies in the coming weeks. He also said he's been in contact with many lawmakers of both parties.
My message was clear. I look forward to working together for the benefit of all Montanans. Across the board, there is an enthusiasm to produce better outcomes.
The Montana Legislature's Rules Committees will meet next week for discussions on possible options for how the upcoming legislative session will be run. Gianforte says it will be up to lawmakers to make that decision, but he said he believes they can balance doing their work and keeping people safe. In Helena, Jonathan AMBARIAN, MTN News.
The convening of Montana's 2021 legislature is just a month away, and its solid Republican majority is busy working on its priorities, along with the incumbent Republican Governor Gianforte. Lobbies and policy groups are also busy making suggestions which they hope will align with the wishes of the GOP majority and voters. Today, MTN's chief political reporter Mike Dennison tells us about one of these plans that's coming out next week.
It's called the Montana Recovery Agenda, drawn up by a new free market think tank, the Frontier Institute, which is led by a former aide to Montana Congressman-elect Matt Rosendale. It calls for a conservative state budget, no surprise there, making regulatory reduction a requirement in state law, market-based healthcare reforms, and greater privacy for your personal digital info.
Of course, there are going to be bits and pieces of each of those plans that individuals might not agree with 100% of the whole thing. But I do think that the overall goal of it, protecting people's, personal rights, personal privacy, and reducing the expansion of government to the extent that government is being efficient with what we need it to do.
But while Republicans certainly want a conservative budget, Senate Majority Leader Carrie Smith of Billings says it's too early to say what that means in terms of spending levels or specific changes.
We can make ourselves more efficient. We want to make ourselves more efficient. Is that going to result in a decrease in spending over the prior biennium? We don't know that yet because we're just starting to get into the budget now.
Smith says he'll likely sponsor one of the healthcare proposals in the Institute's plan to authorize in law direct primary care clinics. These clinics bypass insurers, instead allowing patients to buy a membership for unlimited access to certain healthcare.
When you're looking at the high cost of healthcare, one of the really high costs is actually what we pay for in insurance. So if you take insurance out of the picture, and now you're dealing directly between the patient and the physician or the healthcare provider, you've eliminated the middleman.
KNUDSEN, the Speaker Pro Tem in the House, says he's interested in pushing for enhanced privacy protection of information held on personal cell phones.
Being able to make it very clear that you need a warrant to search through people's electronic data just as you would if you had to walk into their house and go through a filing cabinet.
GOP legislative leaders say they'll look at this plan and others and will be consulting with Governor-elect Gianforte and even minority Democrats on how they can advance an agenda to revitalize the state's economy. In the coming weeks, we'll be reporting on some of these other wish lists and proposals as they emerge. And next week, we'll be sitting down with Governor-elect Gianforte to talk about his game plan. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.